Hi everybody, I'm Kathy Reddy. This story I call Hot Chocolate. It is a tale told to me by my late father, Edward Kelly, and I'm going to share with you it as Eddie. I was a boy, not more than 10 years old. It was post-Depression era, though my family still lived frugally in an apartment on the second floor of a Dorchester double-decker. I was in my bedroom one day playing with my marbles when suddenly I heard somebody outside screaming. "Fire! Fire!" they called. I ran to the window, and below I saw my neighbor pointing down the street. My mother and brothers running toward the sidewalk where a crowd was gathering, and fire trucks were whizzing by. "Oh no, not the chocolate factory!" You see, I dreamed what was beyond those doors. I loved chocolate. I only got it once a year, and I couldn't stand by waiting. I had to do something, so I grabbed my sweater, putting it on in flight, and I rushed down the stairs and out the door behind the crowd and weaved my way until I found myself in front of the burning building. "Get out of here, kid!" a firefighter yelled. But I was mesmerized, looking at smoke billowing out of the window up above the Walter Baker sign that was probably bigger than me. I ran, and I snuck behind the building. Crash! I looked up to see a fireman breaking windows in the factory and throwing out burning bricks to the ground. Boom! Posh! Bang! My feet were as weights. I tried to get away. I fell back and landed on the ground as one landed right in front of me, inches from where I just stood. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was chocolate, and it was bigger than my father's Sunday shoes. And it was clear to me I couldn't save the factory, but I sure as heck could save this giant chunk of chocolate. I leaned over and I picked it up, dropping it for the heat. But I picked it up again and stuffed it under my sweater as best I could, and I ran as fast as I could home, unaware of the fright that was taking place there. As I arrived to my door, my brother came flying out the door. "Eddie, where have you been? Mom's been looking for you." His mouth dropped open when he spied what I thought was hidden under my sweater. And he followed me in the house, and he watched as I dragged the chair to the kitchen sink, and I turned on the faucet, and I washed my chocolate, and I opened the drawer, and I pulled the knife, closed the drawer, and started to shave a sliver from my prize. I took it in my arm, salivating in anticipation as my mom entered the room. "Eddie, where have you been?" "Saving the chocolate factory, Ma." I dropped in my mouth and chewed in ecstasy until something went terribly wrong. "That's awful, Mom." I turned to the sink and I drowned my tongue in the running faucet, and I turned to my mother and said, "Yuck, that's awful." She said, "Well, that deserves you right, young man, for going so close to a fire." "That's unsweetened chocolate, Eddie. It's for cooking." "You mean I saved it for nothing?" he said. I watched her eyes went from me to the biggest piece of chocolate that ever sat on the side of our sink. And she said, "I can make chocolate cake." And I said, "And hot chocolate?" "And hot chocolate."